Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Or if you're new here, welcome. This is Motor Mike Media, and as always, I'm Motor Mike, and today, well, we're going to talk about the Jeep Wrangler TJ. And the TJ is my favorite Jeep. Now, I know a lot of people, they like the newer Jeeps better, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the TJ and why I like it. Now we'll start styling the front end. Simple, traditional round headlights, the Jeep signature slotted grille. The front of this vehicle, it looks rugged and capable. It harkens back to the old days of the civilian Jeeps or the CJs. Side profile, nothing special. Just a nice, simple, boxy design, some clean lines, something that looks off-road ready. And the same with the back end. Just a nice tire on the back, simple tail lights. And that's what's great about this vehicle. It comes from a time where things were just more simple. And you can see that in the interior. Everything's, yes, hard-touch plastics, but crank windows on the lower trims, manual transmissions. Yes, you can get automatics, yes, you can get powered windows, but these bare-bone Jeeps are kind of the best, especially if you're looking for a used Jeep. These are the ones to get to take yourself off-roading. If you're someone new to off-roading, I recommend a TJ, or if you want to save money, go to the one before this, the YJ. Now, people bash on the YJ, but that's the cheapest Wrangler for you. You can find those. They have basically the same power plants that the TJ has. Yes, those vehicles have leaf spring suspension, so a little bit more rougher riding, but they're still solid Jeeps, and you can find them pretty cheaply. Now going back to the TJ. Yes, the interior is kind of cheap, but like I said, this vehicle is simple, but it's awesome. It's a good little off-roader, and it harkens back to those old days where things were just more simple. Now, this vehicle, let's talk some hard numbers. This vehicle started production basically in 1996, going all the way to 2006. And during that time, it went through a lot of different small tweaks here and there. Basically, there was 2 different 3-speed automatic transmissions. There was 1 4-speed automatic transmission. A whole bunch of 5-speed manual transmissions. And those last few years, you can get a 6-speed manual. Now, that's probably the one to get, but TJs in good shape with low miles are pretty expensive. That's why I recommend the YJ if you're looking for that cheaper route. Now, engines and power plants. Basically, a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine. That made about 150 horsepower and about 133 pound-feet of torque. Not the best. But there was also the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. That only made 120 horsepower and like 140 pound-feet of torque. Yes, those 4-cylinders were very sluggish, very slow, but they're pretty robust and pretty reliable. Now the engine you really want to get is the inline 6 4-liter, and it's a great engine. I talk about it all the time. It's one of my favorite engines. Inline engines in general are just very smooth. In this application, it made about 190 horsepower and between 225 and 235 pound-feet of torque, depending on the year. But like I said, that inline 6 engine, super reliable. Whether it's in this Jeep, the Jeep before it, or the Cherokees, that power plant lasts 200, 300, 400,000 miles with very little problems. Now, I personally would recommend trying to find one that has the 6-speed manual, that inline 6 engine. That's one that will just keep going up in value if you're someone that doesn't want to take their Jeep off-roading. But I love these little things. Basically, when the TJ came out, they wanted to improve everything upon the YJ. So they went back to traditional circle headlights, because the YJ had those square ones that a lot of people hated, but I kind of like. This vehicle had, coil-over suspension instead of going from the leaf springs, making the on-road ride even better. All these little tweaks, improving the suspension, making it a little bit better off-road and on-road, just made the TJ that special Jeep. And it was a little bit smaller compared to the one that would come after it, being the JK. The JK is just a little bit bloated. Still a great Jeep. My dad had one of those. But the TJ was just a little bit smaller. Some of those older trails were smaller trails. They just maneuvered a little bit better. Now, in 2004, they actually made a long wheelbase version. And those things are super rare and super expensive. They basically expanded the wheelbase by 10 inches. Now, it only came in a 2-door, and that longer wheelbase was designed for people that want to do camping, maybe go hunting, or the early days of overlanding. Having that extra space in a Wrangler was always a good thing. Eventually, when the next generation came out, they decided just to make a 4-door one. And we all know how that came out. The 4-door outsells the 2-door basically 10 to 1. But I miss these days of the smaller, simpler Jeeps that were just these awesome little off-roaders. But I wonder what you guys think. Do you guys like the TJ? Do you like the YJ, JK, or the JL? I've made a bunch of videos on other Wranglers, so I'll leave them in the description below if you want to check those out. We talked about the 4xe, the 392, the Gladiator truck, a little bit of everything. But if you haven't already and you want to, check out my channel. I keep trying to give you guys more and more content. I talk about cars, trucks, crossovers, and SUVs, combustion engines, and EVs. A little bit of everything. But please, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you guys can stay up to date with the latest and greatest from my channel. And as always, I truly appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.